Hello my motor enthusiasts. If you're keen on the thrills of Formula 1, then today's chat on the 2024 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix qualifying session is just for you.
Indeed, Enzo Watts, it seems Max Verstappen continues to dominate the track, securing pole position for the 7th consecutive race. What's the secret to Red Bull's success?
Max credited the team's efforts in improving the car's balance, and his confidence is sky high. But while Verstappen shines, his teammate Sergio Perez only managed 11th on the grid. Quite the disparity.
That's quite a juxtaposition. And what about McLaren? They've put up a strong performance as well.
Absolutely, William. Lando Norris clinched 3rd place and Oscar Piastri was initially 2nd but will start 5th due to a grid penalty for blocking. McLaren are looking robust this season.
Tough luck for Piastri. Now, switching to Ferrari, they didn't quite hit the mark, did they?
Not quite, William. Charles Leclerc secured 4th while Carlos Sainz was right behind him. They acknowledge the gap to their competitors and it's clear they've got some catching up to do.
And let's not overlook Mercedes. Seems they are struggling a bit.
Exactly, Lewis Hamilton and George Russell are grappling with grip issues. Hamilton's dissatisfaction was palpable post-qualifying, expecting a challenging race ahead.
It's a mixed bag then, with strategies and performances varying widely across the board. This race is shaping up to be quite unpredictable, eh?
Absolutely, William Turner. With Pirelli predicting a one-stop strategy being most common, the tactical plays will be crucial. Plus, the challenge of overtaking at Imola adds another layer of excitement.
Sounds like a riveting race awaits us. Can't wait to dive deeper into it.
Hello everyone. You're tuning in with me, Enzo, your guide to all things Formula 1.
And I'm William, at your service.
We're thrilled to have you join us on F1 Motor Fever podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss our thrilling race discussions. Let's put the pedal to the metal. Moving on to Red Bull's weekend, quite the mix of fortune between the drivers. They found a setup that really worked, pushing Verstappen all the way to a record-equaling pole position. However, his teammate Perez faced some struggles.
Indeed, it seems Perez miscalculated by using an extra set of tyres early on, which left him at a disadvantage in the later stages of qualifying. Quite a hiccup that led him to start from the lowest grid slot of the year.
And on the flip side, Verstappen's performance was nothing short of stellar. Despite a challenging start to the weekend, where they were grappling with pace and balance, the team made significant changes that ultimately paid off in qualifying.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Verstappen even managed to get a fortuitous tow from Hülkenberg in Q3, but he certainly didn't let that define his laps. He nailed both his final runs to secure that pole position.
Absolutely, he described the pole as really rewarding and praised the track's old-school nature. It's those kinds of circuits that bring out the best in drivers and the sport.
And with McLaren showing strong form as well, it sets the stage for a compelling race. Verstappen acknowledged their strength but seemed confident about the improvements made to his car.
Yes, despite feeling less prepared than he'd like for the race, it's clear Verstappen and his team are determined to battle it out. With the strategic plays we've seen, tomorrow's race is shaping up to be quite the spectacle.
Agreed. It's these moments of adversity and triumph that truly test a team's mettle. Full throttle.
Sergio Perez certainly felt the weight of his earlier decisions during the qualifying rounds. He explained his struggles with the car setup and how a lock-up in Turn 7 cost him crucial time. Despite these challenges, the progress Red Bull made with the car was evident, though sadly, Perez couldn't showcase this in Q3.
It sounds like a real mixed bag for Red Bull. Christian Horner highlighted the tremendous effort from the team, mentioning the overnight work back in Milton Keynes that really turned things around for Max Verstappen. Isn't it impressive how they rallied to grab that record-equaling 8th pole?
Absolutely, the dedication is palpable, and Verstappen's performance under pressure was stellar. To achieve 8 consecutive poles and equal Ayrton Senna's record right at Imola adds a special touch to the achievement.
On the other side, McLaren had their moments too, didn't they? With Piastri leading the 3rd free practice and the expectation that they might clinch the pole, it must have been quite the atmosphere in their camp.
Indeed, both McLaren drivers showed strong pace and made it through to Q3, but they just couldn't outpace Verstappen when it counted. And then there was that moment of drama with Piastri getting a 3-place grid drop for blocking, which certainly shuffled the starting lineup a bit.
With such a tight competition and the challenging nature of Imola, known for its overtaking difficulties, what do you think will be key strategies going into tomorrow's race?
Managing tyres and strategizing pit stops will be crucial. Given the difficulty in overtaking, securing a good start and maintaining position will be vital for the drivers. Teams will also need to be on top of their game with strategy calls to make the most of any opportunities that arise during the race.
It's all set up for an exhilarating race day. The stakes are high and every decision counts. Let's see how it unfolds.
Over at McLaren, the mood is quite buoyant. Lando Norris secured third place and was just a hair's breadth away from pole, with both McLaren drivers demonstrating they are serious contenders this season.
That's right. Norris mentioned how tight the margins were, just a tenth off pole, and highlighted the importance of the start and strategy. It seems turn 1 on lap 1 will be crucial for them.
And Oscar Piastri, despite his penalty pushing him to start from 5th, seemed really upbeat about his performance and the car's pace. He's adjusted remarkably to the demands of Imola on his first race weekend there.
Andrea Stella, McLaren's team principal, also sounded quite pleased with their showing, didn't he? He seemed confident about their competitiveness continuing from Miami and now into Imola, despite the track's challenging characteristics.
Indeed, and on the other side, Ferrari had a bit of a mixed day. They were quite bold, using medium tyres in Q1, but ultimately, they couldn't quite challenge McLaren or Verstappen for pole. Leclerc managed 4th, but Sainz was noticeably further back, almost half a second off the pace.
That must be somewhat disappointing for them, especially on a day where they felt more was possible. How do you think this sets them up for the race, given the difficulties overtaking at this circuit?
Well, starting positions aside, it's all about race pace and strategy. Ferrari will need to be sharp on their pit stops and make the most of any opportunities that arise. They've shown flashes of speed this weekend, so it's about converting that into race results.
With all this in mind, tomorrow's race is shaping up to be a strategic battle as much as a test of outright speed. Looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds.
Charles Leclerc expressed some disappointment after today's qualifying, noting that Ferrari didn't hit their targets and suspects their rivals might have been conservative with their true pace until now. He remains hopeful about their race pace, which has been their strong suit this season.
It's intriguing, isn't it? Leclerc mentioned that their competitors had a bigger step up from yesterday to today, which suggests Ferrari might have been caught off guard a bit. Despite the setbacks in qualifying, he seems confident about their upgrades and the ability to fine-tune the car's performance.
Absolutely. And then there's Carlos Sainz, who admitted he didn't have the best session with the soft tyres but still finds himself in a decent starting position thanks to Piastri's penalty. He's looking forward to the race, hinting at potential opportunities despite the challenges of overtaking at Imola.
Fred Vasseur also weighed in, didn't he? He acknowledged the tight margins in today's session and seemed a bit frustrated they didn't advance as expected in Q3. Yet, he highlighted that their race pace looks promising and is hopeful for a strong performance in tomorrow's race.
Yes, and Vasseur also reflected on the pattern they've seen this season, where they've had stronger performances on Sundays compared to Saturdays. This could play in their favour, especially if they manage to exploit their race pace to full effect.
It's shaping up to be quite the showdown tomorrow. With all the strategic nuances and the potential for tight battles, it's going to be a thrilling race day.
Over at Mercedes, it was a mix of strategies and a scramble in qualifying. George Russell barely missed out on beating Carlos Sainz, being just 1/1000th of a second behind, which must have been quite a nail-biter.
It sounds incredibly close. Russell did commend his own effort, saying it was the maximum they could achieve today, but it's clear there's a bit of frustration not being able to push for higher positions due to the difficulty in overtaking at Imola.
Lewis Hamilton also reflected on some challenges. He mentioned that the car felt good on Friday but struggled to find the same grip during qualifying. He believes the small changes they made had a larger impact than expected, which left him in 8th.
That's tough, but there's still a silver lining, as Toto Wolff pointed out. Despite the positions not being ideal, he sees progress and believes they are closing the gap to their competitors. It's all about small steps and ongoing improvement, which could eventually lead to more substantial gains.
Absolutely, and it's encouraging to hear Wolff's optimism amid the challenges. It serves as a reminder that in motorsport, as in life, progress sometimes comes in increments rather than leaps. While the overtaking might be limited tomorrow, Mercedes seems poised to capitalize on any opportunities and continue refining their performance.
Indeed, and with a bit of luck and strategic nous, who knows? Unexpected developments happen all the time in racing, and that could play to Mercedes' advantage. Here's hoping for an exciting race day where they can perhaps outperform their current standings.
Andrew Shovlin from Mercedes highlighted that they've been diligently working to close the gap to the front runners. He acknowledged the progress, though he admitted they still have a long journey ahead. The lack of fresh soft tyres in Q3 might have cost them slightly better grid positions, but he feels the car's improved balance this weekend is a positive sign.
It's certainly a game of patience and incremental improvements for them. Chauvelin also mentioned potential opportunities arising from tyre degradation observed on Friday, although he's cautious about the overtaking challenges at Imola. It seems they're hedging their bets on strategy and a bit of luck for tomorrow's race.
Switching to AlphaTauri, Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo had a commendable day, with both drivers making it into the top 10. Tsunoda, in particular, has been fast all weekend, and despite his disappointment with 7th, it's still his best qualifying result this year.
Ricciardo echoed that sentiment, noting that from a team perspective, it was a positive day. He's been finding more pace lap by lap, although he still feels there's room for improvement in the first sector. It's good to see both drivers feeling optimistic and pushing each other.
Indeed, it's these small victories and gradual enhancements that keep teams like Mercedes and AlphaTauri hopeful. While they may not be battling at the very front just yet, their consistent efforts and small advancements are crucial. It's all about maximizing what they have and slowly inching closer to the leaders.
Absolutely, and as we often see, circumstances during the race can change swiftly, offering chances to those who are prepared to seize them. Tomorrow could provide some unexpected turns, and these teams will be looking to exploit any opportunity that comes their way.
Yuki Tsunoda's sentiments after qualifying are quite revealing. Despite his impressive performance, he feels there was more potential that could have been tapped. He managed to get through to the third qualifying session with just one set of tyres, a positive he acknowledged, but the ultimate laps in Q3 didn't meet his own expectations.
That's always the challenge, isn't it? Harnessing every bit of potential from both the car and the driver. Tsunoda mentioned the tremendous effort back at the factory and how it's starting to pay dividends. It's a testament to the team's hard work and the synergy they are developing as a unit.
Absolutely, and he was quite emphatic about the support from the factory, especially during their home race. It's clear the team dynamics are strong, which is crucial for any Formula One team aiming to climb up in the standings. Alain Permanet, their racing director, also praised the collective effort that enabled both cars to reach Q3.
Indeed, it's a significant milestone for them. Permanet did note that Tsunoda was quicker in the second qualifying session than in the third, which might have added to his frustration. Still, securing both cars in Q3 is an achievement worth celebrating.
Looking ahead, Tsunoda is focused on capitalizing on their strong grid positions to secure points in the race. With both drivers starting in the top 10, there's a real opportunity for AlphaTauri to make a statement in front of their home crowd.
That's the spirit. It's about converting these qualifying positions into solid race results. Given the unpredictability of race days, anything could happen, and they seem prepared to take full advantage of any situation. Let's see how it unfolds for them.
Moving on to Haas, it's been quite a weekend for them at Imola. Nico Hülkenberg managed to secure a spot in the top 10 during qualifying, which is a solid effort, particularly considering he provided a tow to Verstappen that might have been crucial. On the other hand, Kevin Magnussen had a disappointing run, exiting in the first qualifying session due to being impeded by another car.
Just to clarify something, why is towing another driver significant? Isn't that a bit like cheating?
That's quite the rookie question there. It's not cheating, actually. Towing is a legitimate strategy where one car drafts behind another, reducing air resistance and thus gaining speed. It's all about aerodynamics and can be a clever tactic, particularly in qualifying where every thousandth of a second counts.
Well, it might seem obvious to you, but remember, not everyone tuning in might be familiar with the intricacies of Formula One. For some, this could be their first encounter with the sport.
True, but we don't want our regular listeners switching off their radios or changing the channel in boredom, do we? It's a balancing act, keeping everyone engaged.
Even if it seems straightforward, questions like these can still hold interest. It's about making the sport accessible to newcomers while keeping the seasoned fans hooked with deeper insights. That's the beauty of it, isn't it?
Absolutely, the diversity of our audience keeps us on our toes. As for Haas, tomorrow's race day might offer them a chance to translate these qualifying positions into valuable points, hopefully avoiding any more on-track frustrations. Over at Alpine, it seems like a story of mixed fortunes. While they managed to get both cars out of the first qualifying session, they couldn't push into Q3. Esteban Ocon ended up 12th, noting that although the weekend started off shaky with the car's balance, the team made significant improvement session by session.
It's interesting how he points out the difficulty in making the same performance leaps from the first to the second qualifying session as other teams. That's something they'll need to dissect and understand if they hope to compete more aggressively.
Absolutely, and he wasn't alone in facing challenges. Pierre Gasly had a promising start in Q1, comfortably inside the top 10, but then traffic in the final corners during Q2 cost him crucial lap time. It just highlights how every second, every corner counts in this sport.
Indeed, traffic seems to have been a theme affecting many drivers' performances. It's the fine margins that can define a race weekend. Alpine's ongoing struggle to optimize their qualifying performance mirrors the competitive nature of the midfield this season, doesn't it?
It surely does. Every team is pushing hard with development, and the field has indeed tightened up. Alpine's results today might not have been what they hoped for, but getting both cars into Q2 at least shows they have a base to build from for the race. Tomorrow's another day, and as we often see, race day can tell a very different story from qualifying. Aston Martin certainly had a day to forget. Fernando Alonso faced a series of mishaps, starting with a heavy crash in the third free practice, which not only damaged his car but also seemed to set the tone for the rest of his day. Interestingly, despite the challenges, he still managed some decent pace during the qualifiers, though it wasn't enough to get him out of Q1.
Yes, that's quite unfortunate. It highlights just how critical every element of the weekend is, from practice to qualifying. Alonso's issues underscore the pressure these teams and drivers are under, especially when unexpected problems like a mechanical issue pop up right when you don't need them.
Absolutely, and while Alonso struggled, his teammate, Lance Stroll, did make it through to Q2 but couldn't advance further, which really shows that Aston Martin are perhaps losing pace compared to their rivals. The whole team must be feeling the heat now, not just from the racing but also from their own expected standards.
Indeed, it's a stark contrast to the likes of Haas and Alpine, who despite their own challenges, seem to be finding small victories where they can. Aston Martin's plight at Imola is a reminder of just how quickly fortunes can change in Formula One.
Very true. And looking ahead, Alonso himself has braced for an extremely tough race. It's going to be crucial how they handle their strategy tomorrow, especially given the track's notorious difficulty for overtaking. They really need to pull something special out of the bag to salvage this weekend.
It's all about resilience and adaptability. Tomorrow is another day, and as we've seen time and again, anything can happen in the race. Let's see how they tackle the challenge.
Over at Williams, the challenges continue. Alex Albon, although making it to Q2 once again, found himself stuck in 14th place. It seems to be a recurring theme for them, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Albon mentioned a significant change in the car's behavior from practice to qualifying, attributing it to the wind picking up and tires heating up. Those last two corners seem to have cost him dearly, showing just how sensitive the car setups are to track conditions.
And speaking of struggles, Logan Sargent had a particularly rough day. Running wide through the gravel in his first run and then again in his second lap didn't help his cause, leaving him unable to set a time in Q1.
That's tough on a rookie. It emphasizes the steep learning curve these young drivers face in Formula One, especially on technically demanding circuits like Imola. It's one thing to drive fast, but mastering the nuances of car setup and adapting to variable conditions during a race weekend is another skill altogether.
Meanwhile, switching back to Aston Martin, Mike Crack acknowledged the effort of his team, especially in getting Fernando Alonso's car ready for qualifying after his crash in the third practice. Despite their struggles today, they remain optimistic about scoring points, as they've done in all the races so far this season.
That's the spirit of Formula One, isn't it? No matter the setbacks, it's all about how you come back. Tomorrow's race will indeed be a test of their strategy and adaptability, especially with the overtaking challenges that Imola presents.
Absolutely, preparing for all possible scenarios and making the most out of every opportunity will be key. It's going to be an exciting race day, with plenty of lessons to be learnt. Over at Sauber, it seems the conditions have been less than ideal. The wind changes and a reduction in grip from the third free practice to qualifying caught many off guard, including their team. Valtteri Bottas spoke about the difficulty of the track, mentioning that even a sudden gust of tailwind during his second run cost him crucial time.
That's quite tricky. It highlights just how much external factors like weather can play into the dynamics of a race weekend. Bottas nearly made it into Q2, missing out by just 0.022 seconds. It must be frustrating to be so close yet so far, especially under challenging conditions.
Indeed, and with both Sauber drivers starting further back than they would hope, they might be looking to the skies for some help. Bottas mentioned hoping for a bit of luck and some action ahead to make progress in the race. It sounds like they're prepared to capitalize on any opportunity, including potential weather changes.
Speaking of capitalizing on opportunities, Sven Smeets, Sauber's sporting director, did mention that there's a slight chance for a local shower during the later part of the race. This could indeed shuffle the pack and provide some unexpected opportunities for teams like Sauber who are starting in less advantageous positions.
That's what makes Formula One so fascinating, the unpredictability and how quickly fortunes can change with just a few drops of rain. Tomorrow's race will definitely be one to watch, with teams like Sauber ready to pounce on any given chance.
Absolutely, and it's these variables that test a team's strategy and adaptability to the fullest. It will be interesting to see how all these elements play out on the track tomorrow.
Zhu Guanyu certainly had a tough day but showed some optimism about the new floor and the upgrade package. Despite being behind in practice, he managed to close up the gap significantly during qualifying. It's interesting though, isn't it, how just a small tweak in the setup can lead to these little leaps in performance. Makes you wonder if some teams might be holding back just a tad for strategic surprises.
Ha ha ha, that's quite a spicy take there. While it's good to think about all possibilities, we should be careful with such insinuations. It might not be entirely true and could just be a matter of adapting better to the changing conditions on the track.
Fair point. It's just fascinating to see how every little detail is magnified in Formula One, especially at a challenging track like Imola. Mario Isola mentioned the tight performance gaps among the top teams and predicted a closely contested race. It seems like even with a one-stop strategy being almost obligatory, the teams will have to be very precise with their timing.
Quite right. The long 28-second pit stop time really does add an extra layer of strategy. This leaves little room for error, and with overtaking being such a challenge, track position will be crucial.
With everyone so evenly matched, tomorrow's race could be one of those where the smallest margins make the biggest difference. Who knows, a bit of rain or a well-timed pit stop might just turn the tables in unexpected ways.
Absolutely, and that's the beauty of Formula One. Each race is unpredictable, and while we can speculate and analyze, it's ultimately down to how things play out on the day. Looking forward to seeing how all these factors come together in tomorrow's race.
It's worth noting the potential for race neutralization, as we've seen in the F2 and F3 races earlier. The added gravel traps at Imola make it a treacherous affair, increasing the chances of cars getting stuck and bringing out the safety car. Pirelli's choice to bring their softest compounds could play a pivotal role here.
Yes, the strategy with tyre compounds will definitely be key. The C5 performing well over a single lap, but considering the number of gravel traps, teams might be banking on a safety car to shake things up. Starting on the hard compound to extend the first stint might just be a smart move for some teams, leaving them flexible for a late switch to mediums or even softs.
That flexibility could be crucial, especially in a track like Imola where overtaking is notoriously difficult. The teams will have to be on their toes, ready to adapt their strategies at a moment's notice. It adds an extra layer of excitement for us and the fans, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and let's not forget the drivers in the midfield who will be looking to exploit any opportunity that a safety car might present. It's these moments that can really make or break a race for many teams.
True, and with everyone so closely matched this season, any advantage gained from a strategic pit stop or a well-timed tyre change could be the difference between finishing on the podium or not. It's going to be an intense race for sure.
And with the upgrades that some teams have brought into this race, like Ferrari and McLaren, it's going to be interesting to see how these play out in such a high-stakes environment.
William, fancy having a butcher's at some fresh comment on the net about our beloved Formula One?
Right, let's delve into this. We've got a juicy bit from TV Room Raccoon, who says, quote, Valtteri Bottas spotted leaving the Williams hospitality building. Autosport understands Bottas had a 15-minute meeting with James Vowles, unquote.
Oh, the plot thickens. What are the punters saying?
Well, one user, Thomas Speed, gave his take with a bit of humor, quote, walks in. James, it's Valtteri. James, sign here. Signs and leaves without either party elaborating, unquote. Then Pete Zero found it amusing, remarking, quote, one of the few fantasy narratives that actually made me smirk, unquote.
That's a good chuckle. Anything else?
Indeed, Charlie added, quote, but with a contract that entitles him to a free sausage sizzle if he gets points to reflect his new Australianisms, unquote. And, not to be outdone, Mac the farmer quipped, quote, a hell of a deal, unquote, while Goodned teased, quote, Bunnings sponsorship incoming, unquote.
Haha, sounds like they're having a field day with this. How about any serious takes?
Absolutely, there's more grounded speculation too. Arato mentioned, quote, would certainly be a great lineup going into the new regulations, unquote, when discussing Bottas possibly teaming up with Albon in 2025. And Punching Lines pointed out, quote, I think Bottas is massively underrated. He's a beast when he's in top form, but lacked the consistency and race IQ to be a champion, unquote.
Quite right, Bottas has always been a bit of an enigma. Gets the job done, but often flies under the radar.
Yes, and there's admiration for his clean driving as well. Strong Dorothy from the thread believes, quote, would be quite useful for Williams' budget this year to have a driver that doesn't crash, unquote.
Certainly a point well made. Looks like the fans have plenty to dissect and discuss from that brief meeting. Thanks for the roundup, William. Thanks for tuning into F1 Motor Fever podcast today. We've had a riveting discussion about the intricacies of race strategies and potential upheavals in driver lineups. Your participation makes these conversations all the more enriching. Please do subscribe and activate notifications so you're always in the loop with our latest episodes. And if you've enjoyed our banter today, why not share it? Whether on social media, or perhaps during a chat over coffee, spread the word.
Absolutely, and while you're at it, keep those comments coming in. We love reading your thoughts and predictions, it's all part of the fun, isn't it? And don't worry, there's always something brewing here at F1 Motor Fever Podcast. Make sure you're tuned in, you wouldn't want to miss what we've got planned next.
We truly appreciate your company and can't wait to bring you more from the fast-paced world of Formula One. So, from both of us here at F1 Motor Fever Podcast, thank you and we look forward to having you join us again.
Until next time then. Remember, the excitement never really stops in Formula One.
Pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road, our channel's content is pure gold.